edition of The Conversation here on Lagos Television. I am Abimbola Bello.
Good morning, everyone. I am Adebimpe Omotayo.
All right, you'd have to deal with Adebimpe's condition this morning. She's actually battling with a cold. Her voice is also not really there. So I'm going to try as much as possible not to stress Adebimpe this morning.
Thank
you.
Of
course, she'll need to take her news point when the need arises, and she'll take a break. And then, of course, when it is time for the Lagos Conversation, Adebimpe will be here.
We'll be back.
Adebimpe, we'll deal with your voice, however.
Thank you.
Give it to us
Thank you, my dear Oga.
All right, let's begin by taking our news points this morning. The first news point, of course, is on Nigeria and Turkey strengthening ties in defense, others. And the story says, Nigeria and Turkey have stepped up moves to deepen military and defense collaboration following high-level talks between the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Togar, and his Turkish counterpart, Hakan Fidan, in Ankara. The talks, held ahead of President Bola Tinubu's state visit to Turkey, also focused on strengthening political, economic, security, and multilateral cooperation. In a statement issued on Monday in Abuja by Togar's Special Advisor on Media and Communication Strategy, Kasim Abdulkadir, the minister said the engagement underscored the growing strategic nature of relations between the two countries and efforts to deepen bilateral cooperation. According to the statement, Togar and Fidan reviewed existing bilateral ties and identified new areas for collaboration. Togar placed strong emphasis on expanding bilateral trade and increasing mutual investment, particularly in sectors of interest to Turkish companies, including construction, manufacturing, energy, and infrastructure. Both ministers acknowledged the steady growth in economic relations and underlined the need to unblock further potential through structured public-private engagement. On security cooperation, the two sides highlighted opportunities to deepen collaboration in military affairs and the defense industry. The statement said, Fidan commended Nigeria's role in promoting regional stability, peace, and prosperity in West Africa, noting that the country's leadership within regional and continental frameworks. The statement added that the visit, Togar's first official trip to Turkey, reflects the growing strategic character of both countries, anchored on shared positions on sovereignty, institutional cooperation, and pragmatic partnership, with both sides confident of deeper engagement in the period ahead. Well, expressly put, here, of course, both ministers have looked at, how to deepen relationship between both countries, Nigeria and Turkey, and of course, especially in the areas of defense, trade, construction, and all of that. Both countries have looked at, the strength and weaknesses of one another and say how to bridge the gap. These are the kind of things we'd like to see. The new world currency is collaboration, and of course Nigeria is also working at collaborating with a few other nations just to be sure that dividends of democracy is handed down to Nigerians, and of course issues around security are not also treated with kid gloves. So we do hope that, of course, Mr. President will conclude all talks that have started by both ministers. Mr. President will do a whole lot by putting the best foot for Nigeria forward in ensuring that this trip is not just another global trotting, but one that is fruitful for both countries.
President Tinubu, so far, I see him as a very intentional man, intentional president, because when you read out, all the things, discussed there, I like that. I like the fact that security was, I think was the main thing. Right. Was the main, things discussed there at Turkey. I just pray that all this talks, deliver meaningful results. Right. Nigerians also like to go to Turkey. Ladies like to go to Turkey to buy. To do business.
Yes, and I think, of course, a lot of women wear
Turkish
their suits, their jackets, and all of that. They are buyers. I know that a lot of course, Nigerian business owners definitely do their shopping in that country.
In that country.
Let's take your story.
Okay, Lagos Task Force arrests 115 street beggars, arraigns 26 Omotaku members. The Lagos State Task Force has arrested a total of 115 street beggars across various locations in the state as part of its ongoing cleanup enforcement operations aimed at eliminating criminal elements and street urchins, popularly known as Omotaku. The arrest was disclosed yesterday by the Commissioner for the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, through his official X handle. Wahab revealed that 26 members of a notorious Omotaku group apprehended from different parts of Lagos within the last 24 hours were arraigned before a magistrate's court in Oshodi. The suspects pleaded guilty to the charges and were sentenced to 3 months imprisonment in accordance with the law. The action reinforces the state government's firm stance against activities that threaten public safety, order, and the effective use of public spaces. Wahab said, adding that enforcement efforts would continue across the state to ensure compliance with existing laws and maintain a safe and orderly environment. The enforcement operation covered several areas, including Fadei bus stop, Bodilon Lekki Phase 1, Ikoyi, Lekki Aja Expressway, Animashaun bus stop, Akonwojo Road, Egbeda, Costain, Funshaw Williams Avenue, Victoria Island, Akpongbo Jibowu, Yaba Phase 1, Lagos Island, Palm Grove, Ojuelegba Road, Surulere, that's the whole of Lagos, and other adjoining roads on both the island and mainland. Yes, we talked about this yesterday, about street begging and how it has become a menace in Lagos. The street beggars go as far as attacking, commuters, people driving, because they want them to give them money. And this Omotakus, once your car or vehicle breaks down, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because they are also attacking you, forcing, money out of you. I like what Lagos State is doing. It's a cool thing that they're trying to rid Lagos of all these vices. We can't continue like this when we continue to say, oh, Lagos is a mega city, and there is no safety of lives and property.
Yeah, I read an account yesterday on the socials, and of course this particular person was given an account of what happened to her, of course around the Lekki Aja access, where she said, this particular guys had, those ones that would put soap on your windscreen, wanting to clean up. And then she said, no, I don't want you to do that. Just leave my car. And while she was still trying to wait the guy off her vehicle, perhaps they were, a group of guys. Two others had poured sand on her windscreen and said to her glaringly, Shebi, you won't give us money by the time we spoil your car here. And so the audacity with which they also do some of these things, you just wonder, and you ask yourself, wait a minute, what's going on here? And you'd even realize that most of them are not even of Yoruba speaking origin, so you know that they are not from here. So if government continues to clamp down on them, continue to arrest them, but again you ask the question, after being arrested, after being arraigned before a magistrate, when they let them off the hook,
they're still going back to the road.
Is it
they're still going back to the road? Yeah.
So this approach has to be holistic. It has to be holistic, because if you get arrested today, we release you, where are you going back to?
You're going back to the streets.
It's something that it's another approach just needs to be looked into, how these guys can actually be taken off the street. So it's not just about arresting them, it's about getting them off totally, eradicating them. Even if we cannot get rid of them totally, we can minimize to a large extent.
Like rehabilitation would work.
Yeah, I think
but
there
all
are
this has
also
been done.
rehabilitation
All this has been done in the past, but it's still.
You keep rehabilitating people that are not even young.
They don't want to be rehabilitated.
I don't know, but then it's a long road, it's a long walk, and I'm sure that government also realizes how Herculean this particular one is. Let's take the final news points this morning. Sachet alcohol ban, consumer rights advocate protest at NAFDAC Lagos office. A tense atmosphere enveloped the Lagos office of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, on Monday as consumer rights advocates staged a protest against the agency's planned enforcement of a ban on sachet alcoholic beverages. The demonstration, organized by the Coalition for the Protection of Consumers' Rights and led by Comrade Olufemi Lawson, followed comments attributed to the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojusola Adeyeye, on the commencement of enforcement actions against sachet alcohol. Addressing protesters and journalists, Lawson criticized the proposed enforcement, describing it as economically insensitive and poorly timed, warning that it could undermine ongoing efforts to address unemployment and economic hardship. According to the coalition, the enforcement could have wide-ranging implications for manufacturers, distributors, and consumers, and raises concerns about consistency in regulatory policies. Lawson questions the basis for classifying sachet alcoholic beverages as unsafe, noting that many of the products were previously tested, registered, and approved by NAFDAC. Let me quickly flip to almost the end of this story, because thankfully this is what we're looking at on the show today. During the protest, demonstrators carried placards with inscriptions such as "Suspend the sachet alcohol ban," "Save jobs, save livelihoods, and regulation, not prohibition." They warned that continued enforcement could result in significant job losses across the distillery value chain, including factory workers, distributors, transporters, and retailers. Of course, we will hear more from the NAFDAC, the side of NAFDAC, this morning. Honestly, this particular situation, it depends on which side you're actually looking at it from. So every side will want to justify their stand on this particular one. Of course, for the workers, for them, it might mean loss of jobs, it might mean loss of livelihoods. And I think they also raised a valid point, which is these particular alcoholic or drinks or whatever, they've been tested and approved by NAFDAC. So at what point did they become unsafe?
Yeah, but what NAFDAC is just trying to protect children. NAFDAC stated it clearly that, look, what you think is good for you as an adult is not good for children.
Yes.
And we have a lot of these children, like the street urchins now, which we mentioned, they are also taking this thing.
Which is what they also alluded to, that maybe part of what NAFDAC should be doing is to regulate and ensure that these things are not sold to underage. But anyway, like I said, this is what we're taking a look at, and NAFDAC is here. They will clear the air and take us through all of this. So let's quickly go on to the X platform this morning and take a look at what's trending there. Of course, Governor Charles Soludo is trending on the X platform this morning. And why is it trending? Yesterday, it shut down the Onitsha market for a week because, according to him, the traders defied the order to jettison the sit-at-home order. And my question is, why are they still sitting at home?
They want Nnamdi Kanu to be released after he had been taken to court and sentenced. I don't understand.
Because many of them are now saying, the governor has no right to tell them when to open their market.
Shop.
The governor has no right to tell them, but he's the chief security officer of the state. So he has a right to ensure that his state is safe.
He's safe.
And if he says that what you're doing would affect the GDP of his state, otherwise...
He's affecting.
So
not that will affect it, is affecting him already. And even schools were asked to also comply.
How can you ask schools to comply? How can the children stay at home because they have no right to get an education?
They don't go to school on Mondays. They don't.
I mean, I don't understand though. I don't
They
even
don't.
get it, honestly. I
And
don't understand
when I was reading all the comments from these people, I was like, what do you mean he has no right? They want to sue him for telling them not to close shops on Mondays. Are you okay? What exactly do you want? Do you know how many times this man, this Governor Soludo, has come out to appeal to you people that please, these things is not even in his hands.
Sometimes
He can't determine what happens to your leader. And now that he has been sentenced,
was he tried by the state?
Exactly.
By the federal government.
Now that the federal government has tried him and they found him guilty, he will serve his term. Whether you close shops on Mondays or not, it will not come out.
It has been done.
I don't get it.
Anyway, I just hope that these things can be resolved amicably and not continue to jeopardize the future of children and, you know, the GDP of Anambra State. But of course, he's the governor. He will take full responsibility of his state and ensure that there is peace and order in that state. All right, if you'd like to know why Governor Charles Soludo is trending, you can go onto the X platform this morning and take a further read on why he's in the eye of the storm. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, we'll take that conversation on NAFDAC and the ban on sachet alcohol. Of course, we understand there are a series of protests currently ongoing to ensure that maybe to fold the hands of NAFDAC in this particular one. Of course, our guests this morning will take us through what this is all about and why it has become necessary to enforce this ban.